Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful evening with us on Live with Lloyd. I am your host, astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. Boy, do I have an exciting show for you, metaphysically and astrologically speaking. Now, although this is an astrologer, we're going to have one on Wednesday, but this astrologer, we're not going to take any readings today. That is your request. I'm going to honor him because the information he's going to share with you, well, it's some of it's kind of scary, to be honest with you, but I'd rather y'all know than not know, which would be even scarier if you don't know. All righty, and I will be bringing him on in just a minute, but I want to let you know that this week's show is being sponsored by What's Your Number? Brother Richard Woods, one of the students and also guests on the show
Y'all here?
several times. And that's it. This is his Instagram, what's underscore your underscore numbers underscore. His YouTube is what's dot
Let
your
me know
dot
if y'all can hear.
number. Okay. And then his TikTok is what's underscore your underscore number underscore. And his number is 1-800-313-0866. So I want to thank Richard Woods very much for sponsoring this week's show. And before I bring my guests on, as you know, I always like to do the forecast for today. And as we know, it is April the 10th. All righty. And the sun is still in Aries, going to be that way for a couple of more days. The moon is in Sagittarius, which happens to be the zodiac sign of my guest, interestingly enough. It's 11 universal month, a 4 universal week, a 3 universal day. So if you're a Leo, Aquarius, Aries, Sagittarius, or Pisces, this should have been a somewhat meaningful day for you, and especially if you're also born on the 1st or the 3rd, the 10th or the 12th, the 19th, 21st, 28th, and 30th of any month. All righty. So let me just get this off the screen a second. Let me get myself on here a second. All right. And okay. I think this is Lloyd. Yep. Hold on. Okay. Let me explain, folks. I know when we have astrologers or numerologists on, we want readings. The readings are going to have to hold off today. What I want you to do is perk your ears up, because astrologically, metaphysically, there are a lot of things that's going on in the heavens that you need to know. And we have one of the most scholarly astrologers on the planet when it comes to that. What struck my attention was back in, I think, 2019 or something like that. He was making predictions, and I didn't even know him in that sense, but boy, were they jumping off. And that's why I says, how can I get a hold of him? And as it would happen, I went to Detroit. And in fact, there's a picture of us side by side right out of his home. It's just great. So without any further word, I'm going to bring Dominic on. Dominic, how you doing, buddy? Hold.
There we go. I'm good. I'm good.
Good, good,
Glad to be on here today
good.
and bring the community up to speed, because it's definitely necessary. Um,
Yeah, because this is what I want to ask you. Mercury goes retrograde in about another week and a half or 2 weeks. And then
yep.
Pluto goes retrograde on the 1st. Saturn goes retrograde on June 17th. Neptune goes retrograde on the June the 30th. Venus goes retrograde July 22nd. Uranus goes um, uh, retrograde on August 28th. And Jupiter goes retrograde on September the 9th. So it appears about 4 or 5 of these planets, and these are major ones, especially Pluto, which is the revolutionary planet, the planet of transformation in the sign of Aquarius, which is, I'm saying, is it me or what's up?
You know what's going on, brother. You know, you know what's going on. And on top of that, we got an eclipse coming up in Aries in 10 days.
Now, for an eclipse, what does that mean for people who may not know, like you and I?
For those of you who don't know, when an eclipse hits, a lot of things done in the dark come to the light, and a lot of cosmic influence occurs over the events that are going to occur on Earth over the next 6 months to a year, depending on if it's a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse. Now, this eclipse is going to be in Aries, and it's going to be at 29 degrees Aries.
Now, is it going to be solar or lunar?
It's going to be a new moon lunar eclipse. Now, because it's in Aries and it's a new moon, and it's the United States fourth house. Get ready. You're going to hear some stuff come out about people in the United States trying to overthrow the government. Get ready.
Okay.
Get ready. Right now, Mars is at 7 degrees. Cancer in the United States, 7th house. The 7th house, it governs war, but it also governs your allies and partnerships.
Yep.
Mars in at 7 degrees, in about 12 days, it's going to make a square to Saturn in Libra in the United States 10th house, which rules the president.
And the career. Yeah.
It rules the president and the nation. We're talking about the national chart. We're talking about the national chart, the United States chart. So we're talking about the office of the president. As Mars, the ruler of the 4th house, which rules the lower class and the party that is not in power, get ready. They're about to boot up on Biden on multiple levels. They're getting ready to investigations, leaks, subversive measures to make him seem like he's more incompetent. Not that he is competent, don't get me wrong. Jim Crow Joe has dementia. He has dementia. He's lost in the sauce. And like all presidents since JFK, he does what he's told. He goes up there and says what they tell him to say. It's simple as that. It's simple as that. Since JFK, not a president has ran this country. When Dwight Eisenhower left the office, he warned you guys. You were alive at that time.
Yeah, Dwight Eisenhower. Yep.
He said there is a secret cabal in the U.S. government ran by the military industrial complex. Do not let them get control of this country. That's what Eisenhower told him. And for y'all who don't know, Dwight Eisenhower was a black president before Obama.
And you know what's interesting? When Dwight D. Eisenhower was as president, he spoke about the military industrial complex, and he himself was a military officer. So he was speaking from shall we say, experience.
He was somebody who came up through the military ranks, fighting not only against fascism with the Nazis, but with communists. He fought fascism and communism, and he understood that, as you can see now, corporations are starting to control America. Once they started to control the military industrial complex, it was over with. Because war would become the biggest business there is. On a side note for that, 2 days ago, the CEO, his wife, and another person from the board, Raytheon, the largest arms manufacturer in America, airplane mysteriously dropped out the sky in Florida.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
And the week before then, this gentleman
for Cash App got killed, and then they come out with the Fed now
in the middle of the night.
It's a lot going on.
Fed now is going to come into play, because I understand he was heading Cash App into a crypto kind of thing. Now, see, people would say these are all conspiracies, but you and I know that there are things in the heavens that mere mortal man does not have no control over.
I'm trying to tell you, we're all players in a giant game, but we get off in our ego and we think that we're not a player in the game. A lot of times you're doing shit that keeps you're doing stuff that's keeping you from helping somebody else live their purpose, which is affecting thousands of other lives.
Yeah, got it.
We're all in here together. So as long as people can push you towards things that keep you from being the greatest version of yourself, then you are part of the problem and retarding the growth of humanity, because we're all here as gears to turn a machine that increases the vibration and allows each soul that comes here to grow, evolve. When you're not living your purpose, you're robbing somebody of the promise you made them when you made the soul contract with that person.
Now, you have on your Instagram a feature that you had about the last week or something that I've been trying to keep up with. More news you could use, or to paraphrase it, if that's the case.
That's correct.
And you talked about how it is important that people begin to be conscious of owning some land if they can get their hands on it, growing their own food, although there seems to be a control over the food. What is that about, astrologically speaking?
Well,
That makes sense.
if you look at the United States chart, the food is ruled by, the fourth house, Aries.
Cancer.
And
Oh,
the United States chart, it has
right.
Aries on the fourth house. Mars is located, in the seventh house, which means, rather than the United States taking care of its own food supply and agriculture supply, it outsources and buys everything from allies. You have to come to the understanding and accept the fact that the United States does not own anything except the military.
Interesting.
The United States doesn't own the post office. It doesn't own the Federal Reserve. It doesn't say US dollar on your money. It says a Federal Reserve note. But people never take the time to read, so they would never know the less, because it still works in the same way as their mind as a US dollar.
And the US dollar used to say certificate on it.
Silver certificate,
Not
gold certificate.
Yes,
Yeah.
which means you could exchange it for metal, silver, gold,
Yeah.
or whatever the case is. But now it's just a Federal Reserve note.
Yeah, which means, and it says on it, it's a promissory note, a promise to pay.
With no guarantee.
No guarantee. No guarantee. If you look and pay attention, the FDIC only insures a bank up to $250,000.
So if you got a couple of million up in there, you're going to be out of pocket.
You should never have more than what they insure in any bank, and you shouldn't have nothing in there anyway, because the bank makes money by loaning your money out at a higher interest rate. They make all the money loaning your money out at 7 or 8% and give you a 0.5%. Don't even give you a whole percent. And then charge you for holding your money and charge you for spending your money. How does that work?
That's why I guess banks are the powerhouse they are. But let me tell you this. What is up with this thing now called BRIC? Brazil, Russia, China,
India,
South
China,
Africa.
South Africa.
What
BRICS. That's where.
And India. Let us.
This is what I'm gonna tell you.
They call these the emerging nations.
They're not the emerging nations. They're the backbone of the world already. They're already the backbone of the world. You don't see the engineers for Facebook and Google coming from the United States. You see the owners, the slave masters, the plantation owner is white. All the engineers and stuff are Indian and African and Asian, Chinese, Korean. The only thing that's great about America is they go steal everybody's talent. They will take your wealth, physical and intellectual, and make it their own and say that they did it. That's the only thing great about this place.
Okay.
When you look at engineer mind, Americans don't build this stuff. You're living in the world. When you look at the United States natal chart, the third house has Pisces intercepted. Pisces is the sign that rules illusions. The third house rules the mind of the people. It's controlled by deception, hidden deception. Intercept means these things are deceptive and it's hidden. And because Pisces is ruled by Neptune, and Neptune rules Hollywood, it rules film, it rules music. These are the things they use to engineer their deceptions. They talk about China like China is a joke. There's out of the 8,000 AI patents, the United States only has 660 of them.
Out of how many?
8,000
AI patents.
China has 7,300 and something.
So I would say, just looking at those numbers, they are way ahead of the game in just the AI department.
And if if you got common sense, if they're that far ahead of the game in AI, and these aren't, you can't get no trash patent, man. You got to have white papers with peer
Now,
review.
okay.
These people are the code, man. They ain't putting it on your news over here. North Korea got underwater drones that have that can take a nuclear payload. They ain't telling you Kim Jong-un said the minute you try to play with China, you granting me permission to hit Japan and Hawaii and the west coast of the United States with nuclear tsunamis. He don't even want to drop a nuclear bomb. He want to send a nuclear tsunami all up the west coast and east coast. It's not a game, man.
And you know, many of the products that are coming in are coming from abroad. Like when the COVID, one of the things was the chips. So cars were affected greatly and had to be put on hold against being sold. And so therefore, I think last year is when the United States, okay, well, we need to open up an industry to manufacture chips to go in the cars because they were dependent upon other sources. So, I mean, so I don't think people realize and see, although people are looking at it economically and in the news and things that are not told in the news, we're looking at it metaphysically from the aspects of the heavens. And so people think that, so go ahead, further explain some more things. I think this is interesting.
When you look at the Taiwan situation, outside of I believe Denmark and Japan, Taiwan has the highest manufacturing and most advanced chip development technology in the world. They don't care about the people of the Chinese people living on Taiwan Island. Taiwan is a province of China. It's never been separate from China. After the communists took over, the Kuomintang government fled to Taiwan, and China let them exist there independently. But it's only one China. When they ran the British out in 97 and got Hong Kong back and Macau, those were always parts of China that other people colonized. The United States is the biggest weapon is propaganda. That's what I'm gonna tell you.
That's interesting.
You look at how do you wage a war on your own people without alerting the world to it? Propaganda. Look what they did when black people started the Black Power movement in the 60s and 70s. First they came with the heroin. That didn't do enough devastation. They used crack.
Yep,
while they
80s.
were doing that, they did the black exploitation films, black exploitation, and weaponized that to create an image of black people in America all around the world as pimps, thugs, dope fiends, and women beaters.
Yeah, and made a buku of money in the process.
Right, and then had our people aid and abetting them in the psychological warfare. Now black people can't go nowhere in the world without being looked at like buffoons, because that's what we market ourselves as. Look at the rappers. Look at the successful black people in Hollywood. Look at the token Negro politicians. Huh?
Well, I tell you this, traveling to India and China as I have, I would say the way I was looked at, we have been stereotyped to a very large degree.
And we aid and abetted.
Yeah.
We aid and abetted. We helped them spread this propaganda about us for a couple funky dollars.
Wow, that's kind of
now deep. Nobody around the world want to do business with blacks in America. That's why you can't get off your behind, because you don't got no plugs in manufacturing. You don't own nothing that matters. You think somebody cares about your vote just because
that's
you
pretty
own
deep,
a weed company or a liquor company or a clothing company? That don't make the world go round, Jack. They get your vote until you get on, because you don't control nothing that matters. You don't run the food supply. You don't control the water supply. You don't own no communication satellites. You don't own no construction companies that produce steel, concrete. You don't own nothing that matters. They don't got to respect you after they trick you out your vote.
And we don't
You
even own
ain't
the
got
food
nothing.
that grows. We don't even own the food we eat.
Right. Right. And if you want to keep somebody a slave, you control their food supply. Back to the fourth house. Food supply. If I control the price of your food, I can make sure you never make enough to get out of poverty.
And now they're talking about, now they're coming out with organic chicken. I mean, artificial chicken is like lab-made chicken. They're actually making lab-made meats
Yeah.
from fish to chicken and whatever, that in about another 10 or 15, 20 years, people won't know whether they're eating the real chicken or a lab-made chicken.
Unless you grow it yourself. Unless you
Okay.
grow it yourself. You have to make it a point to take responsibility for your food
Okay.
supply.
Now the screen froze for about the last 7 to 10 seconds. What were you saying about that?
I was just saying you have to take responsibility for your food supply. You have to, we got all these, black people open up trucking companies. There's plenty black farmers. Black farmers need to be building with the black truckers and bringing the food straight to the inner city. If you work for any fast food restaurant, Taco Bell, KFC, these are owned by PepsiCo. PepsiCo also owns Nabisco and Frito-Lay. So if you work for KFC and then you go to the grocery store and you buy Doritos, you buy Lay's potato chips, Fritos, you buy Oreos, you buy Pepsi products, Mountain Dew, you're just a sharecropper. You're just a sharecropper. You get subsidized housing for the government. And you go earn tax revenue as a debt slave. Because that's how the United States makes its money. And that's my mistake. It's two things they own. For what? The military and the citizens. If you don't get no tax revenue, if you ain't generating tax revenue, the government ain't making money. That's why there will be never be another shutdown during a pandemic. Because if your kids aren't going to school, the teachers and bus drivers aren't making money.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting? This gentleman named Klaus, they says that but they're projecting that by 2030, all people want to do is just be happy with what they got. It's like, it's like you are now a child. And all you want to do is just be happy.
That's the purpose of social media.
That's crazy.
Behavioral engineering.
And this is why everybody's in their phones. Everybody. I mean, people are almost walking into each other in the street looking at their phones. There's no seem to be a situational awareness. They could walk into a manhole, anything, a pole.
And look how they trained them to chase validation with the verification badges. Instagram made $600 million. The first day they start selling badges, people want to be validated that much. Want to be important. I'm certified in real life. I wish I would pay for a blue check.
What are badges for those like me who don't know? What are you referring to?
Like the blue check on your account. You see some people got that little blue seal with the check mark in there.
I never paid it any mind.
Like celebrities. If you look at celebrities' accounts, Oprah, she got that blue seal with a check mark saying that's her real account. Now they're selling these for like $12 or something like that. They made half $500 million from people who want to be somebody for a bunch of nobodies.
Wow, that's deep. And isn't Pluto the kind of planet where losers become the winners and winners become the losers and losers become the winners or something of that nature?
It can happen like that if the winners are abusing their power. Pluto is a planet that governs collective power and it rules over the abuse and misuse of power. So like in the situation with the United States right now, they're going through a Pluto return, and when Pluto returns to the place that it was, and you haven't been using the power that the universe gave to you for the collective benefit of all, which we all know the United States has not, then the universe takes that power and crushes you. And that's what's on the horizon for the United States.
So that means
this is what I'm gonna tell you, and you mark my words today. By 2027, the United States is gonna be obsolete.
Seriously?
They're already dead. The body just ain't dropped yet.
Well, I know this, that China
already gone.
I know that the ally, France, the ally of the United States, when they come, they're not beefing with China. I know that much. There's a couple of other things going on where some of these European nations are not going with that. They seem as if they have a deeper sense of understanding the economic ties that be, shall we say, to other nations.
And back to BRICS. You know, you want to touch on BRICS? I had to let you know. You know, BRICS has overtaken the G7.
Really?
Overtaking the G7 in annual GDP. BRICS nations make up about $45 trillion a year. Yeah. And the G7, which is United States, Japan, South Korea, Great Britain, France, and Germany, and somebody else. But they hit it like 35 trillion. The BRICS nation making like, you know. So that right there is a sign of the times. BRICS is about to make their own currency.
Yes, they
Saudi Arabia is looking to join BRICS.
Yep.
Iran is looking to join BRICS. Mexico. China brokered the peace between Saudi Arabia and Iran. It's game over.
Now, what about
Israel was the occupied Palestinian territory occupied by the Israelis? I want to be politically correct. You know, the Zionist regime is collapsing. They don't show you nothing on the news over here about Iran. Iran's military arsenal is out of this world. Lloyd, you know I'm a psychic.
Yeah, a sorcerer too.
You know, so I'll go look in people's stuff. I'll go looking to see what's really going on. I don't just read the newspaper. I might see some stuff on the newspaper. I don't watch the news on TV at all. I get about 30 different newspapers from all around the world on my phone, straight to my phone. And I'll you know, do some readings and see what's going on, you know. They don't want problems with Iran or China. This is what I tell you. They run up on China. You're going to see all our satellites, all your internet and everything stop working instantly.
I remember back in 1980 when they were talking about Iran then. It was Ayatollah Khomeini. They wasn't fooling then. And that was in 1980 when they shredded
40 years ago.
When they shredded all the documents, the Iranians actually took the time and glued them all back together. That was the most amazing thing. I mean, if that wasn't time dedication to unlock what was this, you know, shredded, to find out what was going on against the, so, you know,
and all Iran stuff, bro, all Iran, it's in-house. Our satellites can't detect them. Our radars can't jam them. That's why they're smashing on the Ukraine like that. That's why Russia's smashing on Ukraine like that. Them Iranian drones. None of the European or US stuff can track them or jam them.
So this is going to be, let me ask you this. I've noticed within the last about month or two or maybe three, this whole surge in popularity of everybody talking about AI to do this, AI to do that. Do people understand what the impact of artificial intelligence is really going to do in less than a decade from now?
I don't think our people are grasping the impact entirely. But if you want to see, you know, Vladimir Lenin said there's decades where nothing happens. And then there's weeks where decades happen. in the next 5 years, you are going to see technology advance in a way that you would think 100 to 150 years pass by. This is what I guarantee you. I was telling Lloyd at the beginning of the show, Uranus is in the same place that it was during the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, you were saying that. Yep.
Saturn.
Now, what does that mean for people who don't understand?
For those of you guys who don't understand, you know, I know a lot of people, you know, are come from Christian backgrounds, and the Bible says there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun, and the planets go what? Around the sun. So when a planet returns to a place where it was once before, similar things happen to be unlocked on Earth by that cosmic energy. So last time that Uranus was in Taurus, we had the Industrial Revolution. You know, the machinization. You know, last time, you know, Saturn was in Pisces, and Saturn moves in 30-year cycles. So when you go back 30, you'll understand that Saturn rules the United States' second house of money. In one of those 30-year cycles, every of those 30-year cycles, the United States goes through an economic downturn. The Great Depression happened in one of those 30-year cycles.
Yeah,
stock market crashed in 1901 in that 30-year cycle.
Yeah. And then in October 29th of 1929. Yeah.
And then again in this 30-year cycles.
Yeah. And then about
you want to know what's going on with the United States or any country, their financial situation, a real deal. Find out that country's natal chart. Look at the second house, which rules the money and the values of that nation, and then find the ruler of that second house and the condition of that planet in the house. And for you guys that came on looking for readings today, I'm gonna give you some information about your own chart, how to read your own chart, because this is best tool you have to ensure your success on this planet. It's a blueprint to your soul's energy. You want to know about your money? You want to look at your second house. What sign do you have on the second house? That sign, whether it's Leo, Virgo, Scorpio, whatever, it has a ruler. The ruler of the sign on your second house is a planet. If you got Capricorn on the second house, like the United States, that planet that rules that is Saturn. If you want to fix your money situation, know what's going on with the planetary ruler in your chart, where it's transiting through and where it's located at natally. Where's the ruler of that chart? If your ruler of your second house is in your ninth house of publishing, then you need to be teaching people. You need to be publishing books. You need to have some type of newsletter or newspaper, things that are governed by the ninth house, because the house where the ruler is at is where the portal opens up for your money. Lloyd, I had a replay, and I'll get it on my YouTube too. That's how you maximize your money. Know your second house, the ruler of your second house, and where it's at.
And everybody's got a second house that you are. Everybody there are no exceptions. It's what's in it or what's not in it that determines the economic situations, which is why you need to consult professional astrologers like Dominic or anyone in your respective area. Okay. He happens to be in the Motor City. So for those of you there, I would say to pay attention. But actually, all you got to do is go to his Instagram, which we're going to put up on the banner anyway, because he's come out with this series, News You Can Use. But what's happening is it's not just him saying something as an astrologer. He's backing it up with things that are appearing in the news around the world. Okay. So it's not like he said it and then he published something just to make himself look good. No, he don't work like that. Dominic has made predictions that are somewhat scary, but he keeps it real. And at a time like this, everybody needs to keep it real. And here's what I'm concerned about. What about the little guy that works in a McDonald's or Burger King? For example, here in New York, just last month, they said the average 1-bedroom apartment is going to go for $3,000 plus a month. Higher than a lot of people's mortgage. 3,000 plus. And in fact, there's a building near me. The 1-bedroom is going to be $3,000 a month, and the 2-bedroom is going to be, I think, 4,000 or 5,000 a month. Now, who got that kind of money? And with the economics, that means most people, regardless of what color or station they come from, are going to be in a bind trying to get that kind of money up, because if you miss a month for 3,000, you got to come up the next month with 6. And if you miss that month, you got to come up with 9 G's, and then 12 G's.
And 9 G's, you might as well move out of state and get you a house.
Yeah.
You know, and again, you know, like I said, it's a lot of negative aspects to the 4th house ruler. You know, Mars is squaring Saturn. That's trouble for Joe Biden, and it's trouble for land and homeowners in the United States. You're about to see a housing crisis,
like they do us back in 2008, like when people start losing all their property.
Yeah, but anytime there's problems, there's opportunities, and opportunities mean making money.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. You know, don't get caught up in the doom and gloom, black people. As the bottom falls out this joint, you can catch a whole lot of coins.
Yeah.
You can catch a whole lot of coins, but you got to be on point, man. You got to be willing to not do what everybody else is doing.
Well, what can people in our community do to begin to offset what looks like is going to be an economic challenge to a large degree? What can people do in our communities?
Number 1, learn how to barter.
That's used to be the old days of doing it.
Learn how to barter. And when I say this, I'm not just talking to people, give me some cornmeal, I give you some sugar. I'm saying I have a marketing agency. Yes, I'm an astrologer and everything, but I have a marketing agency. If my brother is a computer programmer or a web developer, I will do some marketing services for my brother so his business can grow and he can do some programming or develop some software for me. You see what I'm saying?
You're talking about bartering in the 21st century.
Yeah.
Not absolutely. Just bread for corn and corn for bread, but yeah, flour. Yeah.
We have to barter services and even our time. Because if I barter some of my time to you, I can be a professional consultant. And this is another thing that black people have to do. Leverage your knowledge. You're sitting here working for GM, for Ford, you know, this company and that company, Bank of America, 20, 30 years. You're not leveraging your knowledge. You have insider information that people in our community could literally weaponize to level the playing field. Stop being a gatekeeper, knowingly or unknowingly. You know, you think you got issues with money. This is number 3. You talk about you can't buy gold, you can't buy silver. All quarters that were made before 1967 are silver quarters. Start looking for coins that were before 1982. Those are copper. Copper is worth more as scrap metal than it is as pennies. I'm trying to tell you, it's money all over. It's a lack of people who know how to get it and lack of willingness to go get it. There ain't no shortage of paper out there.
That explains why I read a couple of years ago that anybody, if you get a hold of a 1966 quarter or 1967 quarter, hold that puppy because it's going to increase in value. Now I see why, based upon what you're saying. You're saying because now the coins that come out,
I got jars and jars of coins,
and because now the quarters that come out are almost like when I went to other countries, it doesn't have the kind of weight to it. The feel.
It costs more to make a quarter than a quarter is worth.
That's interesting.
Costs more to make a quarter than a quarter is worth.
Well, goodness knows what it takes to make a penny then.
It costs more than a penny to make a penny.
Yeah, I can figure based upon what you're saying. Yeah. Now, let me say this for those in my viewers. We're not trying to, the whole projection is not about trying to scare people, spook people. It is about making people aware of some of the situations that's going on according to the transitions and how things are moving in the heavens planetarily, that no man, no matter what, Klaus, Bill Gates, or anybody has no control over. This is God's work, higher forces, call it what you will, but this is out of man's control. It is just when you got people such as the certain level of professionals as the skill sets of, and it's no accident that Hitler used astrology, Napoleon used astrology way back in the day. As far as
Queen Elizabeth
used astrology. Everybody used astrology, even Ronald Wilson when there was an attempted assassination on his life
Reagan.
by the Hilton. Reagan on March the 30th of 1981. From there, his wife made sure Kathleen Quinlan, the astrologer, guided him. And by the way, what people don't know, there were 5 Aquarian presidents. He made the 5th one, but unlike the other 4, he got out in one piece. All 4 Aquarians died in office.
That's a great observation. I'm gonna take a look at that.
Take a look. William Henry Harrison, McKinley, Lincoln, and Roosevelt. All of them died in office.
Yeah, I'm not just gonna take a look at that. I'm like in general, like the climate of the nation while certain signs were president.
And what's interesting, William Henry Harrison was the first Aquarian president that came in 1840. He made his inauguration speech on March the 4th of that year, and actually 30 days later he died in office. Abraham Lincoln in 1860, 20 years later, was the first Aquarian president to be assassinated in office. McKinley died in office. Also, and in fact, out of the 4 Aquarian presidents, 3 of them died in April. William Henry Harrison, then Lincoln, then Roosevelt.
You're gonna have to call me when we get off this, man. We go because we'll take up the whole show on this.
You see all these books behind me? This ain't no showcase. This ain't showcase, brother. This is research and study. So that's why I tell people, like you say, don't take our word for it. You do the research yourself. That's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no question.
I'm just here to show you your potential.
Yeah.
When I say
let's get out of a quagmire that's like, if we don't understand, we are going to be the fodder of this country. And even now, there's things that are changed. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go. Your turn.
You on point. You understand. You understand. It is a lot of opportunity where there's problems.
Yeah.
And it has been shown to the world that there's problems with the way certain people in this country govern, deal with diplomacy and things like that. So it's opportunity for Black leadership to bring something other than tokenism to politics and real diplomatic strategy. When you look at other nations, Iraq has the Kurds, China has the Uyghurs, Russia has the Chechens, Iraq has the Shiites also. The Palestinians have the Israeli occupation. But despite of being nations and an ethnic group within a nation, all these people have autonomous existence within the country. You go to Iraq, there's a Kurdish hospital, Kurdish internet providers, Shiite hospitals, Shiite, publishers. Black people are the only people in the world, nationless and displaced, that refuse to have their own stuff. Not can't. We refuse.
That's interesting.
We want to be like them. We want to be embraced by them. We want to be loved by them and not respected.
That's interesting. And respect is very important, because if you look at Caribbean brothers, they walk around and say respect, respect. I mean, it's just a natural love and respect for one another. But here's what I'm curious about. There has been over, what's this, the 4th month already? And yet there have been almost more mass shootings. What is in the planetary aspects of the United States with the fixation about guns and AKR or whatever that is, ARK, whoever mother that is? What's up with that?
About 4 days ago, you guys had a shooting.
And today too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know about today because I don't care what goes on the news.
Yeah.
That's why I stopped doing reads. I told you what was going to happen. Now that it's happening, don't tell me, oh, this is happening. I told you what was coming.
Yes, you did. And you've been telling people
And
for
I
quite
told
some
you, get ready. The time for calling people to be prepared and take care of themselves is over. So now when I give news that you can use on my full-time pressure Instagram, I'm telling people this is what's going on with this economic situation. This is how you hit a lick on this. This is how you catch some of these coins. The time for talking to people who act like they don't know that it's over with is over. I only got time for those who are taking action, that are doing. I'm all that crying about what white people are doing, what white people won't let you do. I told you 2
No
years
excuse
ago.
on that one. No excuse
These
on that
people
one.
are in self-check. Focus on Black people's issues. If you're not doing nothing to change it, you're in the way. If you're complaining, if you're a professional complainer, you know, these people that they've been hoisting in front of us, they're puppets like they're leaders. Leaders don't complain. Once a problem is identified, they start implementing solutions, not talking about it, not waiting for other people to make concessions so you're not oppressed. Real leaders start putting plays in motion to bust moves. Simple as that. So, you know, in regards to the guns, this is the shootings and stuff have to do with Mars being in conjunct with the United States ruler. You know, the ruler of the United States chart is Jupiter. It's in the 7th house.
But isn't Mars one of the opposition planets to the sign of Cancer of the United States? No?
It can't. The United States rising sign is 12 degrees Sagittarius. So in the natal chart, it is opposite, you know, and almost in opposition with the rising sign. But right now, Mars is transiting through that 7th house, which makes it trigger things. And because we know Cancer is an emotional sign, most serial killers are Cancers.
That, you know, that surprised me. There was an FBI listing of those who commit the most murders, and I would have lost my money thinking that Cancers had the list of the most murders.
Yeah, because
I mean, other signs do too, but for their statistics, those under the sign of Cancer is the one that committed. So any Cancers, don't take it personal. It's not me and Dominic. You know, see, the one thing is that all the statistics is there and available for people. All you got to do is do your homework. That's all.
Please say it again.
Do your homework, please.
It's nothing new under the sun. There's good astrologers and there's crappy astrologers, but astrology itself is a science.
Yes, it is. And not a pseudoscience. Where do you think they got this notion pseudo from?
You already said it. Napoleon used astrologers. Queen Elizabeth,
Hitler,
Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
Listen to me. The popes, if I can have the upper hand on you using astrology, wouldn't it be in my interest to make you believe that it's trash?
Well, you know, it's interesting. In the early 1900s, when J.P. Morgan was by the press and approached it, does astrology make millionaires? He said, no, it makes billionaires. And in fact, in April of 1912, when the Titanic set sail, what they don't know is J.P. Morgan owned the White Star Line, which owned the Titanic. He did not go because when it was launched in early April from Ireland to go to New York, and the ship was supposed to arrive on his birthday, J.P. Morgan's birthday, on April 17th. And on April 14, 15, it crashed in the Atlantic, and the rest is history. But he died less than a year later.
And look, he let all his competitors go on the Titanic knowing it was going to crash, and all his competitors were opposed to the establishment of the Federal Reserve.
And they were bankers and business.
And the J.P. Morgan also killed holistic medicine and created the pharmaceutical energy.
I understand Rockefeller was a part of that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not homeopathic medicine or just organic medicine, but pharmaceutical, and actually ran them out of business.
Yeah, and start making products based on petroleum-based medication. You have no idea how much petroleum products are in everything you use. Black people use Vaseline for years, swear it's good for you. It's
My
a
mother used to smack
carcinogen.
it on my face, okay, as a kid, you know?
Vaseline is a carcinogen. It's a
Interesting.
petroleum waste product from creating gasoline from oil.
Interesting.
And they sell it to you. They sell it to you. Philip Morris, largest tobacco company in the world. Marlboro, they own that. Cool, Salem, they own that. Check it. Philip Morris is transitioning to a wellness company by 2025.
No kidding, really? After all these years?
Of poisoning you and making you sick, bribing doctors to make reports saying that tobacco was healthy. Now these people are in charge of your wellness. 2025.
They said that the country is actually that people are being poisoned, but if people are aware that they're being poisoned, how come there isn't a kind of a raising of the consciousness or awareness, or at least being more aware of how to offset that, knowing if that is the case? Because certain chemicals and products or whatever additives that go into the food is not allowed outside the United States.
Right.
At all.
Right.
All red dye number 10 and blue dye number 14 and whatever number dyes and all that stuff is, that's not happening in other countries.
Titanium dioxide, high fructose corn syrup. Yeah. You have to understand, sickness is a big business.
You're absolutely right. You ain't right. You ain't lying about that one.
All you got to do is go look at the books. See how many pharmaceutical companies, McDonald's, Burger King, Nabisco, PepsiCo, how many companies that make these manufacture these foods that get you sick are invested in the pharmaceutical company.
Well, let me
you're
say
gonna
this.
consume. You're gonna consume till you get sick, and then you're gonna consume some of our vitamins and some of our pills that get you sicker, but fix this side of the symptom. And you're gonna take more pills and more pills. That's why Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security are gonna be broke by 2028. I bet they ain't plastering that all over the news neither, are they?
In fact, they are cutting back on some from what I understand, but it's just this is kind of crazy. And let me tell you this again, viewers, my Live with Lloyd viewers, this is not to scare people, but to simply raise your awareness, raise your, as they used to say, kundalini, your consciousness.
Absolutely.
Raise it. That's all. And so this way it can't be said that sounds familiar when Dominic and I've had this discussion. I mean, these are some interesting times, but you know, they used to say still, God is still the best knower. So although man may have its plans, what they don't realize, God has bigger plans.
I'm trying to tell you. They think they running something.
Man is going to win. I really don't.
They think they running something. They ain't running nothing but their mouth. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you, they're not running nothing but their mouth. And you know, again, you know, the violence, it has to do with the Mars aspect and the
with all these gun shootings and killing of kids too. I mean, like, what's that about?
And unfortunately, you know, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. You know, they came up with a so-called plan to help people deal with PTSD by pre-desensitizing your kids to murder via video games, Call of Duty, Halo, things like that. And their experiment didn't turn out too good. There's since 9/11, there was about 6,000 soldiers killed in action, 120,000 suicides after they seen what war really is.
Wow.
120,000 suicides.
That's a whole lot of suicides.
That's like 2,000% more. people killing themselves after leaving the United States military than there are people getting killed on the battlefield.
You know, when you put it like that, that should make people pause and really think. That should really make
You
them
look
think.
at everything without the American dream glasses on, if you would. And that's not to scare you. That's like a oops upside your head. Wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Wake up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When COVID first hit, 95% of Black businesses were denied access to paycheck protection.
Interesting.
95%.
And yet I'm not surprised.
95%. The government don't got nothing for your Black behind. The government can barely hold their own trousers up right now. You need to buy land. You need to learn how to grow food. You need to learn how to barter. Start collecting coins. Start finding side hustles to supplement your income. What information can you provide the community? You got 20 homegirls that are nurses, but you guys haven't started your own nursing agency. Do you see the problem with that?
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
have 20 brothers that work for the steel union. You got 20 brothers that are pipe fitters. But nobody's coming together and creating a Black business to corner the Black market, to take care of the Black community, to provide services where they're not.
Does this explain why everybody can come in our community and prosper but us?
It's not that we can't prosper. It's that, you know, soon as they say, okay, you can integrate, you can come be in our neighborhood and we'll gladly spit on your sandwich and let you eat it in our face at the counter. You know, you're so happy to integrate that you left everything that you had. And that's the reality of the situation. You know, we get online and we listen to all this conspiracy crap about the Freemasons. You look 20, 30 years ago, when it was Prince Hall lodges in the Black community, I bet they weren't all tore down.
Yeah.
I bet they weren't all tore down when it was Black Masonic lodges in those communities.
Mm-hmm.
When these brothers that were Masons were helping make sure other brothers from the lodge in the neighborhood could get in the Ford, could get in the GM, could get in the Chrysler, you know, could get in the Union. We let these people talk us out of every position of power that we have, every strength and stronghold that we have. You in Harlem, go see Harry. Go see Harry and ask him, is it true that the last conversation you had face-to-face with Dr. King, did he tell you, brother, I fear I have integrated my people into a burdened house?
Yeah, he in his last days, there's a lot of things he said that wasn't for public reading, like why I oppose the war in Vietnam that was spoken at the Riverside Church in 1967 or early 68. There's a lot of things that he said that now are coming out, that he began to talk about a lot of things that in a minor way, I think he's had some regrets about his style in light of, even though he did what he did, that it almost went for naught in that way. And that we are no better off. In fact, we're worse off, to be honest with
Absolutely. We don't own none of our
you.
own stuff.
Real talk.
We don't own nothing now.
Yeah, yeah. So listen, the hour is up. Hold up, let me put the banner up where people can get in touch with you. We're gonna have to do a part 2, and hopefully this don't sound like, wow, doom and gloom, you hide on the rock. No. Because you can run, but you can't hide nowhere. So what he is saying is, what Dominic is saying, and I'm alluding to that, is that you need to be aware of how to survive. I've had a gentleman named Aton on who is a skilled survivalist. And you are going to have to learn how to survive. Now, you may not want it, and it got us so busy looking in our cell phones and looking here and looking there that we bet to see what's going on underneath our own backyard. But Dominic, this is you. So for anybody that wants to get in touch with this brilliant astrologist, Dominic Holmes, astrologer, spiritual advisor, healer, sorcerer, author, and he's a whole lot more. His site is redclawconjurer.com. I spelled everything right, I believe. Did I not, Dominic?
It's no R on the end of conjure, but it's okay because, like I said, the people that follow my Instagram, they know I quit taking personal clients when Aries season begun. Only thing I'm taking clients for is my marketing business, full-time pressure, and that don't have nothing to do with this. Unless you're a business owner, entrepreneur who wants some occult power behind your business.
Yeah. And let me tell you, quiet as this kept. A lot of people don't know that J.P. Morgan hired Evangeline Adams, an astrologer in that day, born on February the 8th, to be on his staff and even taught him astrology. And if they don't believe me, all they got to do is pick up Evangeline Adams' Bowl of Heaven. Her autobiography spoke how she taught him. And I'm sure she pulled his coat about, don't get on that Titanic, man, because...
And she learned from Aleister Crowley.
Yes. Yeah, of sex magic. That's his association with that. So anyway, boy, we got a lot to talk about next time, So hold on one second. You're going to get the last word. I just need to just do a couple of things as we do. But this is, again, yes, it's nice to have the readings, but I think if you paid attention to what we discussed over the last hour, it is about a wake-up call about being real to survive. And it's not a bad thing as so much as having knowledge, because other folks have this awareness. Don't think other people are not stockpiling this, stockpiling food, getting what they call these things, these battery things, generators. Yeah, all this stuff. People are preparing, stockpiling foods and whatnot, 3-month supply and whatnot. So something is going on. And so there was some store that, I think some department store, they had locks on just getting the ice cream. To get ice cream, you had to go get the lock, go get somebody to unlock it to get some ice cream. I mean, as ridiculous as it may sound, there are signs that are, if you're not paying attention, that things are kind of right up on you.
Yeah.
You need to be aware. And, and so Dominic and I can only do but so much. It is not our role to hold people's hands, because you're going to have to hold your own hand. You're going to have to learn how to be independent and self-reliant and really do more things about it. But let me just tell you what's going on this week. On Wednesday, I'm having another astrologer. Oh, by the way, these are Dominic's books, by the way. Dominic, tell us about this book.
Keys to Transformation, Beginner's Guide to the Ancient Gods is an introduction into, the gods of ancient Egypt, to help you understand, what they represent, because a lot of people don't understand, God is a vast entity. Everything that exists is God.
Mm-hmm.
Different cultures, especially ancient ones that were wise, and you can still see this in Hinduism today, they personified specific manifestations of God's energy and named them and give them, images so they can relate to them and specifically call and draw that energy to them to use in their everyday human stuff. They still do it in Hinduism today. And if you look at, India, it's almost 2 billion people, one of the fastest growing economies in the world. All the most brilliant people in the world come from India.
They call it now emerging nations. See, that's the word
they meditate. India is not emerging. India is 10,000-year-old civilization.
Yeah.
Hitler got his ideas for the rockets and stuff from ancient Indian texts.
Yeah.
Let's not get it twisted. The Indians been on point. That's where Buddhism came from and everything. Buddhism is born out of Hinduism, was imported to China and the rest of Asia from India.
And in fact, Dr. Martin Luther King got his philosophy of nonviolence from Mahatma Gandhi, born October the 2nd in India. This book,
Coloring to Connect, this is a magic book. I'm telling you, it's not just a coloring book. It's for adults and children, and it helps you develop your own personal connection with the different gods of ancient Egypt. When you understand, everybody has things to tell you, oh, this rules this and this has this color. When you're coloring to connect with the deities, it's important that you have your own type of understanding of how they appear to you. And then it makes it easier for you to summon and call on these beings that appeal to you and manifest it from your imagination.
Good. Now, what about this one?
And this is one for connecting with the Orishas.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And it's important that we have a energetic connection. Colors are energy, frequencies. When you sit here with the intention of bringing something to life with colors and vibrations, you're casting a spell right there. A spell, magic is manifestation through the scientific manipulation of energy.
That's all
you manipulate energy through intention. This isn't spooky mumbo jumboism. This is quantum physics. The scientists, the white scientists from MIT and Harvard will tell you your thoughts affect energy and energy affects matter. So your thought process has a direct effect on your reality.
And especially this year of 2023, which is the number 7, which deals with the law of attraction. So if you're saying, oh, that was stupid of me, your subconscious is going to literally take that, not the way you said it, but the way, as far as it's concerned with the subconscious mind, it's intended. So thoughts are things. And as I said, if you're walking around with a poverty mindset this year, a non-survival mindset this year, you're going to have problems. So think prosperity, think survival, think whatever.
Think thriving.
Yeah.
Think thriving. Every time there's a problem, this is an opportunity for me to make some money for solving it.
Every time there's been a problem, somebody has taken advantage of it. All we have to do is just think the same thing and have that kind of consciousness too.
Create solutions.
Some of the best people that have done well over the last year since 2020, when they were shut down, actually formed businesses that have actually done well since then. So let me say this. Wednesday, I'm going to have another astrologer on from the Detroit area. His name is Hood Mystic. I don't know whether you know him, but he would be a good brother for you to meet. And I want to let you know that my classes are on sale. Let me just do this a second. Take advantage of it. I think it'll be on sale up until Wednesday, I do believe. But take advantage. Go to my website, lloydstrayhorn.com, lloyd-strayhorn.com. And by the way, I want to let you know that my app called A Star 8 is like a star in the heavens, a star number 8. That's why I'm an astronumerologist. It is now available for download. All you got to do is go to either my website, lloyd-strayhorn.com, or go to the website itself, astar8.com. Now, Android users can get this now by the same time next week. iPhone users should be able to download it into their device. Also, this is an audiobook, my classic book. And this started just out of the result of somebody in Clubhouse. I've been wanting to do it, but it was somebody who was visually challenged in a Clubhouse situation, a class I did one time that motivated me to say, okay, let me do this. This entire book, well, it's not an entire book because certain sections of predictions that are no longer here and way outdated by today's standards are no longer in the book. But this entire book, short of those things, which is a revised, that's why it's a revised edition and an abridged edition, is recorded entirely by me, over 8 hours worth of recording. So I played snippets for you where you can hear some of it to give you a clue as to the sound of the book, some of the qualities of the book, and take advantage. And also take advantage of the newsletter that I have up too. The April edition is here. And also you can go to my site, Lloyd-Strayhorn, to hear any of the shows you missed on the podcast. And I got to say thanks to my brother, King Simon, that's always supportive of the show. On the 19th, next Wednesday, a week from this coming Wednesday on the 19th, we will be on talking about the Sisters of the Traveling Spreads. And if you want to learn how to find out more information, go to stshealing.com. That's stshealing.com to sign up, register, get more information, but that'll be there. And of course, I would be less if I didn't thank Richard Woods for sponsoring today's show. I got to thank him very, very much. And us again, for those Wednesday, Hood Mystic will be on. Please subscribe. And by the way, when you download it, tell me what you think. You know, it's still got a lot of work, but at least I got it out the barn, so to speak. And so tell me what you think, good, bad, or indifferent. But it took me quite some time to do this, but it's all reflective of the years and decades of experience that I put into this, taken from my book that's now in an audiobook form that you should take advantage of. All righty. So with that being said, let me get all this out the way. My man, any parting word before we go, buddy?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, don't be afraid. Be prepared.
Exactly.
Where there's
Exactly.
problems, there's opportunities. Stop undervaluing your knowledge. Learn how to monetize it. People will pay to learn what you know. If you're a single mother who's, raising your first kid on your own, and you're not the last person who's gonna be a single mom. Write an ebook, put some information out, create some helpful stuff for other people in that situation, and make some money off of it. There's plenty opportunities out here.
You know,
Seize them.
I tell people you can always make money without having to rob a bank or steal something. But you do have to be creative. You do, which is why my premise on this show is you either think for yourself or somebody will do your thinking for you. And that's not always a good idea in certain instances. Dominic, I love you, buddy.
I love you too, brother. We gonna get on the phone. We gonna get on the phone because there's a lot going on, man.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, thank you, everybody. I want to thank you very, very much. I do think that there will be readings next Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. But for those of you, this was, when I asked Dominic about did he want a reading, and when we talked, we felt that what was happening in light of the economy, BRIC, and a couple other things going on, that this was too important to gloss over with reading people's birthdays. Not that your birthdays are not important, but if you don't know what's going on, it don't make what difference your sign is or how good the reading is. Right now, it's about learning how to survive, or at least understanding some of the things that are coming down the pike, and it is no joke. So while they party while Rome burns, this is going to be the same thing with party while United States burns if you're not careful or aware of what's going on. So for those of you, I do want to thank everybody very much. All of you have a wonderful, wonderful day. And thank you. And I'll see you on Wednesday with my very special guest, Hood Mystic.